welcome back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Buckeye Boggs. That man over there is the wild man, Chris Wilds. And for most of you in the chat right now, this guy down here does not need any introduction. What can we say? John Kennedy, he's here to talk Notre Dame, Ohio State. This is going to be, for the next hour, either the greatest rant of all time or no one's going to get a word in edgewise because I have a feeling things are about to get heated. John Kennedy, you've had quite the day all over the place on the internet.
Yeah.
Do you have any voice left tonight?
You know what? It's rough. First off, it's nice to be back with you guys. I did take a little heat today when I said I was joining you, and I had some people asking, yeah, how are you going to join an Ohio State show? What are you doing? And I said, these guys are different. They're actually kind of nice and funny, and I don't mind them. So it's rare, but I'm happy to be back with you guys. The reality is, man, this game has been circled forever. I mean, last year's was too, but this one the same way. And for Notre Dame, people in a different way because it's at our place this time. There's a different feel. This is the kind of week you wait for. If you're a college football fan, like you wait all the dog days of summer. We need football. We need football. You build it all up, and it's finally here. And so it's just a beautiful thing. And, you know, there haven't been a ton of really good, great, high-ranking matchups yet. Like, it's good to get into all this. And the voice is hanging in there. We did the tailgate party this last week at Notre Dame. And I wanted to get that in for Central because that's a game. This is a war. And I'm not going to be in the mood to be in that parking lot wheeling and dealing and running my mouth and being all happy. That ain't the time for it this week. So I had to get that out. And when we did it for last week. And then today, it's like I told people, I'll talk with anybody. Like Mark Rogers, I did that. I'm hitting you guys. I'm gonna jump on a Blue and Gold podcast Wednesday. This is what it's all about, you guys. This is what we wait for. Get yourself a Let Marcus Freeman Cook t-shirt, and we'll get it going. Let the man cook.
At least that one's better than free hardball. What a dumb t-shirt that is. My gosh. I wouldn't even wipe my own butt with that thing. My goodness.
Man, hey, no matter what they're dealing with there, at least it ain't Michigan State's problems. That, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it could be worse in the state of Michigan, that's for sure.
Let's do this real fast, everybody. This Saturday, we are going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the Alumni Club of Pittsburgh, the Ohio State Alumni Club of Pittsburgh, the Rudy of Ohio State. We have one too. His name's Mike Wargo. He's running the ship that night. It's going to be at Mike's Beer Bar right across from PNC Park. This is an absolute blast. We want to invite all of you Buckeyes and even some of you Notre Damers out there in PA, man. Come join us. It is an absolute blast. We have an absolute good time. Prizes, games, piñatas that might end up in your food, as we learned last time. So,
hey, Eric,
is it a big leprechaun? You guys just beat it with a stick? Or what
it's usually this terrible letter M that we beat up. Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter who we're playing. We want to destroy the M. Yes.
Hey, Eric, can I fire the first shot? You know, if we did a Wargo movie, it would be better than Rudy.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, but there's a reason they haven't. There's a reason they haven't. And the one that exists is college football lore, my friends. You can't just create a Rudy out of nowhere. You got to have that dome and that grotto and everything else that goes with it. You can't create a Rudy out of nothing. It's got to be more than the guy. You got to have all that other stuff that builds the movie. You guys, come on now.
Yeah, I will say this, John. If there was any way you could set up a phone call between the real Rudy and Mike Wargo, that would make his life.
Yeah. Now
he's actually called the Rudy of Ohio State. But he's never talked to him.
If you're in my chat, the way I see you on my morning shows, we have a few Rudigers that are in there. We're very close with the family. There's so many of them. There's like a dozen kids, and then they all have kids. And they're all from my area in the South Chicago suburbs. So we know all those Rudigers. Rudy's one of the older ones, so he's kind of, out of my age range with his kids. But yeah, we know a lot of the Rudigers. I might be able to dial that up. This is 30 years. It was 93 they released that. So we're at the 30-year anniversary. So I got to get him on to talk about that anyways.
Yeah, I actually met him when I was in junior high. He came and spoke when I was in middle school many years ago. It was right after the movie came out. And
Well, apparently he
what
didn't
a
do a
great
good
guy.
job because look at all the red you're wearing.
Well,
He didn't do that good of a job.
He came to Central Ohio. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not exactly Catholic Central here like Toledo is or
Yeah.
Cincinnati in this part of Ohio. But hey, I do have some neighbors that fly your flag. I just walk the other direction in the mornings when I go out on my exercise. Hey, a lot of people in the chat going on right now. I appreciate all of that, including our buddy from the Purdue podcast. Next time Purdue plays Notre Dame, I need this guy on my podcast. Electric. Dylan, you need to check out the Always Irish podcast.
Hey.
It's fantastic.
I took all this heat. I think it was last year. We played Purdue or something, and we wouldn't let the band bring the drum in. We said it was too big, and they wouldn't let the drum come through, and I had a field day with that. And all the Purdue people were mad. I'm like, sorry, man, your drum's too big, bro. You can't bring it in. Sorry. They were all mad about it.
Here's one of your boys, Brian Kelly's caddy. He was on our show last night. Yeah. He said, hey, Irish fans, subscribe. Give these guys a sub, man. Appreciate that, Brian. Really do Brian. Appreciate that. That's awesome. Appreciate that.
That is a funny dig at Kelly. I always said that guy loved to golf way more than to recruit. So to have Brian Kelly's caddy in the chat means a lot to me.
Oh, my gosh. So, all right. Let's do this. I don't want to – I sent you a video. I don't know if you got that. It's Kevin Noon and his comment. Have you seen it, first off?
Yes, but I have a clarifying question.
Yes.
I kind of hinted at that, and somebody suggested that may actually be a video from before last year's game. You're telling me come on now. You're going to, the fuse is going to blow. I was giving that guy the benefit of the doubt that was cut up by a Notre Dame person from last year where the dynamics were completely different. I was told that was last year and I let it go. If you're telling me that was recent, I'm going to have a stroke.
Yeah, you're about to stroke out because he actually did on his show today. He doubled down, dude.
Wow.
He doubled down. Now, let me clarify.
Based on what? Based on what? In every single area, Notre Dame's better than they were last year. That doesn't mean they're going to win a game, but they're better than they were last year. What is he basing it off of, though? Like, honestly.
All right, we got to play it. Let's play it.
Let's play it.
I've got it locked and loaded. Let's play it, and then I'm actually on your side on this, John.
That's a bold take. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, thought it was before last year, and it made more sense last year. Wow, let's look at it. I gotta look at it differently now.
Here we go.
There's just this belief that this roster of players that nobody has ever heard of is going to shock the world. But again, as we've seen year in, year out, Notre Dame is vastly overrated by about everybody going into the season. And maybe they don't stub their toe yearly against Marshall, but they're going to let you down. They're absolutely going to let you down. And there's just not enough free bets on all of these apps for me to load up as much on Ohio State as I want to right now. Ohio State is going to curb stomp Notre Dame in this game. You can clip this, you can submit it to Freezing Cold Takes. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I mean, it is going to be awful if you're a Notre Dame fan. It is going to be awful. Streams of green are going to be lining up to exit the stadium in the third quarter.
All right, John, what do you have to say to Jabba the Hutt there?
I don't understand. Where does this egg with glasses get off saying all this stuff? First off, number one is factually, if you look at the numbers the last 10, 12 years, Notre Dame's actually been underrated more than overrated to begin most years. Most years, they've actually ended up outperforming their original AP ranking or whatever. So that part of it isn't even really factually accurate. But the other thing is, I kind of just want to know why. Give me the reasons because that's just not the way a lot of people are seeing this game shaping up this year, that it would be a blowout like that. Like, I just didn't see many reasons other than taking a shot at Notre Dame's roster that you don't know who the guys are or whatever. I genuinely thought that was from the year before, and I just don't. I would like to know what that's based on, and it would be different if Notre Dame's first 4 games, they were barely getting by, like undefeated, but looking iffy, barely got by. I mean, this is the most points Notre Dame scores in 4 games in my lifetime, over 40 every week and all that. You got a real quarterback. So that's a little bold. And I just would like to know some of the other things going into that equation. That's really bold. I really thought that was from last year.
First off,
make it make sense.
What constitutes a curb stomp? That's my first question to Mr. Noon. What constitutes a curb stomp? Because if you look at the history of this series, I won't call it a rivalry. We've only played 7 times.
Yeah.
The largest margin of victory was 19 points in one of the bowl games, I think it was.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was 95. Anyways, it's only 19 points.
Yeah.
Is that a curb stomp in his mind?
Well, but the way he's talking, it sounds like he's talking just blowout central third quarter. We're all leaving. Like, I would be really surprised if that result occurred either way. To be totally honest with you, I would genuinely be surprised if it was like that either way. But from the Notre Dame side, you guys, here's kind of my thesis for how I'm starting the week. We'll see how this shifts as the days go along. But here's how I feel, and I think a lot of the Notre Dame fan base feels. We have been a running meme my entire cognizant existence as far as losing the big game, okay? Bowl games and regular season games. It's a running meme how bad we are in those showcases, and it's usually embarrassing. It's not even close losses. It's bad mismatches. That is all factual. That has all been the misery of my big game existence. However, the reason Notre Dame fans feel different about this one is for all those events, we never really had a quarterback that we liked or trusted at all. Like last year was a mess, and then all through Kelly, we never had a quarterback entering any of these games that made us feel the way we do with Sam Hartman, who your guest earlier in the week apparently never heard of before. Wanted to know, what's his name? Sammy Hartman. Get out of the Big Ten a little bit. Turn on some ACC, and you might have heard of the guy. But
no one watches the ACC. Come on.
You should know the name.
They're on the CW now, Eric. Come on.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah. With their crap media deal. But the reason Notre Dame fans feel different about this is all of those old game results are factually accurate. But we were always entering those matchups saying, well, we know we have a worse quarterback right off the bat, and we're not going to be able to move the ball at all. And we better get a block punt and 2 pick sixes to be able to score enough to compete. We saw that game over and over and over in the Kelly era where the defense hangs in there, but eventually they get worn down. The offense can't do anything, and then we lose and get run down. Notre Dame fans feel different because we have a quarterback we like. We have a guy we trust. He knows where to put the ball. There's no panic. He has experience. That is the newness to this dynamic that has Notre Dame fans excited. In no way am I saying, that guarantees a win. No. But we feel like we may actually have an offense that can compete in one of these games in a way we haven't in 20 years. That's the big difference. Regardless of what you guys are going to say about Hartman or not, it's the best we've had in like 20 years. So for us, it changes the calculus a little bit. The team's built different.
All right, John, let's be honest. And then Chris, after I make my comment, jump in. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I know that I see them. You get the bold Ohio State fans in your chat on your shows who are just, poking the bear. I get it. It's that way everywhere. I understand that. But here's the truth. Like from a Ohio State fan telling you the God's honest truth. Until last week's game, I was scared to death for this upcoming game. I was. We showed zero ability to really play with offensively what you guys had put on film through the first 3 games, because no one saw game 4. It was on Peacock. So I don't even know if it really happened. I'm just taking your word for it from your tailgate.
Don't get me started on Peacock, by the way. That's
Well,
why I'm glad I was at the game, so I didn't have to sit there and watch my TV buffer, because you can only watch the game on a stream. What a bunch of crap.
Get this one. Ohio State and Maryland are supposed to play on Peacock in 2 weeks.
Okay.
They're both undefeated currently.
Get used to it. The little circle, baby. Buffer.
But until that happened last week in the Horseshoe, I would say Ohio State was consistently steps behind Sam Hartman and the offense that we were watching from Notre Dame. Now, defensively, it's a different story. And I think this game, Eric said he wanted us to talk about the game. I think this game's going to come down to one simple thing. Who controls the line of scrimmage? And that's what it's going to come down to. Yep. I've looked at all the different scenarios, our wide receivers versus your cornerbacks, your quarterback versus our defensive back, and with your wide receivers, the running games, all of that. It's all going to come down to which lines are going to control the line of scrimmage. It really is that simple in this game. And I'll be honest with you, our defensive line, especially on the ends, have underachieved when they were supposed to be the strength of this football team. 2 5-star defensive ends combined 0 sacks this year. That's the game. Chris, take it away.
No, I was just going to say, John, I got to ask. Now, you had mentioned kind of the schedule coming in a little bit. And, Eric and I have came out. We know that Ohio State has not played a tough schedule per se, that we have felt that they've underachieved, that we had some concerns. Do you have any concerns given the fact that yes, Notre Dame has dominated the teams they've played, but do you realize that they've played 4 games, 4 wins, but of those 4 teams, there's a combined 1 win over an FBS school? All the other wins came versus FCS competition.
Yeah.
Does that give you any concern going in?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to look at that. That's a very fair point to bring up. So here's how I've kind of addressed that dynamic on my shows, because that has been a through line, and we were looking at this as a build up to you guys, breaking the season into segments. And then you would say the first goal for Notre Dame is you have 4 easy, not easy, whatever, NC State's gritty, whatever, but you have 4 games you need to make sure you win to be able to reach you guys undefeated, to make this build up what it should be and what it is. I acknowledge that the competition has not been great. Here's the difference, though. Okay. Jaded Clay, one of my loyal guys. Good to see you, Jaded. The difference is Notre Dame's played a lot of games like the first 4 we had this year, last year, and then all through the Kelly era. And a bunch of them were losses. And a bunch of other ones were, you're playing Central Southern nobody, and I'm sweating and my hair's falling out. We win by 3 at the end of the game, and there's no pride. You're just glad it's over and you didn't lose. Right. So then it makes me say, acknowledging that we're playing lesser opponents, at least this year, we're doing what you should do if you think you're decent against those kind of teams. So that's a marker for us where I'm like, okay, they're not good, and we're doing what you should do against teams that aren't good. And that is new for us, man. We never score 40 points this many weeks in a row in my literal whole life. So regardless of who it's against, that is progress for Notre Dame, especially offensively. Notre Dame's been playing good defense for like a decade, pretty much.
Right.
Offensively, we're not used to that, and people are excited. So what you're saying,
confidence and cohesion
fair.
there.
It's fair. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're getting confidence and cohesion out in those first 4 games. So.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody, even on the high side, expected Notre Dame to score in the 40s all those weeks. And so for us, I know for you guys, you score points in bunches, and that's what you do. For us, this is all new to have an offense that's been capable of doing that. And so that's where you look at it. That being said, just like you guys, I'm looking for I have a checklist of things inside the game, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like, you should win against Central, but what do I need you to work on? A, B, C, D. Certain weeks they've accomplished that, and other weeks they haven't. And that's where you start going, is there something weird this team was doing that took us a while to adjust to? Or do I really have to worry about this position group against a better team with more talent? And those are some of the answers we're going to find out this week.
Right.
Perfectly fair for you to bring up those first four. But that's where I'm going to say we're just glad we're doing what you should do against teams of that level. That's new for us. It really is.
Fair enough.
Yeah, good answer. I would say this, both of us, although we haven't played exactly the level of talent that we're going to be facing this Saturday in one another, both of our schedules were much better than what the team up north has played. And
God,
they
dude.
struggled against Bowling Green.
You guys, they do not play a team with a pulse until Penn State,
Penn State.
the second week of freaking November.
Hey,
They don't
Rutgers.
play anybody.
Rutgers.
Even the Big Ten. None of these teams have any athletes. They play nobody till the second week of November. I can't handle it. Play somebody.
They play Rutgers this weekend, who happens to be 3-0, and they're saying it's like huge. This is a huge game. I'm like,
Bro,
Rutgers.
Good thing that Harbaugh's back.
I'm telling you, man, that schedule
free.
is so, it's amazing. And so they're going to skate unless they sleep. You could have one of those where you sleepwalk at the big house because you're just so used to throwing a ball out and winning. Maybe they do that, but man, they don't get tested till well into November. And I'm mad at that. So we'll join forces on that one. Jeez, play somebody.
No kidding.
Play anybody.
Yeah. So here we go. Let's break this down a little bit more. So for our Ohio State fans who are watching and or will watch this on replay, talk a little bit about how the season has gone for you guys up to this point, bringing in the transfer quarterback from the ACC, going out there in that first game in week 0 in Ireland, which was pretty freaking cool, I might say. I watched the whole thing. Throughout the first 4 games here, where are you guys at, and where is the confidence level at through those first 4 games, John?
Yeah, this year is, no matter what's going to end up happening throughout the year, Notre Dame fans are really enjoying this new quarterback. Okay. Brian Kelly did for a quarterback guru. Him and Tommy Rees did a bad job recruiting, developing, and evaluating these quarterbacks. It has been an issue. Notre Dame has not had appropriate quarterback play in a very, very long time. Even entering the game last year against you guys, the best we had was Buckner, and we had no idea if he was good or not, and we just wanted to see what was going to happen. Like, there's no we have not had this level of quarterback since probably Brady Quinn, all the way back to them, where you trust a guy that he's not going to panic and can make the throws you need. So that alone has excited the fan base in a totally unique way, because it's just something we have genuinely not had for a long time. So seeing a guy like that control the offense, never panic. He's seen it all. He knows where the ball needs to go, knows how to throw guys open, knows how to read everything. That has been the biggest spark of a rejuvenated, hopeful Irish fan base, because this team's built different going into your game and USC and Clemson later because of that. Now, that being said, Notre Dame doesn't have a perfect roster. You guys have more star talent if you're going to line them up, and nobody's disagreeing with that. It's just having that quarterback and an offense that looks more like a real world offense that could compete. That is a new spark of energy for Notre Dame fans we have not had, man. We are used to all these big games saying, how do you block a punt and get a pick 6 and a scoop and score to make up for the offense we know isn't going to do anything against a good team? And that is how we've had to enter a lot of these games. And if you can't run the ball, you're not going to win because nobody can throw it. So that is the main kind of through line here that has people excited. Then you have the corollary of Marcus Freeman seems way more comfortable year 2. Year 1 is a lot taken over at Notre Dame. it didn't go well. Injury to your quarterback week 2 is the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody, let alone a guy year 1 on the job. All these issues, offseason had its own issues in that area. Like, he seems way more comfortable, and this staff seems way more put together and on the same page and more organized. So those things are giving Notre Dame fans confidence. Also, you're already starting to see Notre Dame get deeper and have more depth that they can trust guys to play without a big drop off and get younger guys in the mix. We're seeing more of that now than we ever did under Brian Kelly. And it's just a different way to build a team and recruit and develop. That's not a finished product. But we are excited to see more year 1 and 2 guys out there competing, and they can hang and they're not overwhelmed. And that's an ongoing process. But overall, yeah, there are nitpick, there are complaints, but when you're putting up 40 and none of the games have been close, how much you really going to be mad about stuff, you know?
The Ohio State fan
Ohio
base
State
would
fans
find
will be
things to
mad.
be mad
I
about.
know. And
We
so
will
do
find
I.
something to be mad about. Make sure that.
like I wasn't very happy with the Central performance. It was way too close into past halftime, and it was annoying. But I made sure in my articles and in my show that I mentioned, we need to understand all of my complaints are under the framework that we won 41-17. So everything isn't that bad, okay? So Notre Dame's not a perfect roster, but you can see things changing and more of Marcus Freeman's vision of this long term. And whatever happens in this game, that is still trending in a direction that I liked, way away from Kelly's direction. Totally different way to do things. So overall, that's good. But that quarterback is reliving Notre Dame fans' hope, man. It's rejuvenated some of that old Irish quarterback hope.
So you do have a former Buckeye on your roster, Javonte Jean-Baptiste. I call him the one series wonder. He'll show up for one play, one series, and it's like he doesn't even exist the rest of the game.
He had a good game on Peacock. He had a
I was
good
gonna
game
say,
on Peacock against
but no
Central.
one saw it.
Yeah, I know. He had a good game against Peacock. And here's what I'm hoping for, man. You got to hope there's some revenge factor here. Like, I wasn't good enough to play for you guys. I'm going to be on fire coming off the edge. Like, we need it. That's one thing I'm going to tell you guys. If you want to, I know at some point you're going to ask, where do you think Notre Dame's vulnerable or that kind of thing? I know we're going to get there. I'm not sold on Notre Dame's pass rush against an elite team with elite talent. Like, I haven't seen enough to trust that pass rush. And we don't have like a dude. Like last year, Isaiah Foskey was a dude and you knew it. Teams had to account for him. We don't really have that dude, but it's more like solid guys. And so I'm kind of hoping, you get a little revenge factor there from him, but we'll accept the Baptiste, even though we're Catholic. Okay. We'll accept the Baptiste over here as long as he's wearing that green jersey. So we hope he can have that revenge factor off the edge, but pass rush is something, the game within the game, the first 4 I'm looking at going, how's this going to stack up against a better talented team? So there's a little bit of that. How are we going to hold up against the run? If you guys get running the ball, then it's over. Because then you have that and those weapons on the back. We're dead. Is Notre Dame going to be able to hold up against the run? That's a big question I have. I'm not 100% sold on Notre Dame's offensive line either. Like, do what you're going to do against these teams. I want to see the test against you guys. And so, there are questions here. Wide receiver room, nowhere near where it needs to be. No, like not even on planet Earth near where it needs to be, but it's still miles better than last year. That's a work in progress.
Your quarterback is elevating that room, though, dude.
Yes.
I mean, come on, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I got to answer this question.
Sam who?
I know. You should have known by now.
Heartman. That's what I've been seeing.
I like
followed by a bunch of Clovers. Heartman. So I got to answer this question from Brian Kelly's caddy. Would Ryan Day be on the hot seat if he lost to Notre Dame but beat the team up north? No, we'd have a freaking ticket tag parade for him.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You have to understand the level of hate we have for anything maize and blue.
For Freeman right now.
Oh, stop it.
I said,
Stop it.
he'll never be forgiven, Eric.
I'm telling you guys.
Chris and I go to war about Freeman, man.
I'm telling you guys, Marcus Freeman is just the nicest guy. Everybody in Notre Dame loves him. He's a class act. He carries himself exactly the way I want a Notre Dame coach to carry himself, how he deals with people, how he interacts. It is the perfect vibe of a coach for Notre Dame right now. He is the anti-Kelly in every way as far as like how to treat people and the ego. And Marcus Freeman understands that that lady on the dome comes before his ego does. And no one's ever won in Notre Dame that doesn't get that. If you make it about you, you're not making it at Notre Dame. And Kelly did that. It was all about him first, and it never works for those guys. Marcus is genuine as the day is long. I haven't heard a bad word about him. Everybody loves the guy, man. He's working his ass off, and he's doing things the right way. And I mean, I fully support him. He is the anti-Kelly in all the ways I didn't like about Kelly. It's beautiful.
Brian Kelly's caddy. Tune in when we have videos later this week when we do our other Notre Dame preview shows. I will let Chris go off on this. He channels his inner John Kennedy when it comes to Freeman.
I'm telling you, man, that guy is lovely. He's just a great guy. We're happy. Everybody loves him. He's working his butt off, and
he's a
treats
heart.
people the right
He's
way.
a heart, man.
Yeah. Hey.
All I'm going to say is after he opened his mouth, he became the most punchable face in all of sports.
You guys are the only ones I've ever heard say a bad word about the guy. And all he did was pump up Notre Dame a little bit to the media, and you guys can't let it go. I love it. Go ahead.
Hey,
do what you need to do to get that fire in you. Go ahead. Use what you need to use. Get that fire in you.
Don't listen to this guy. There might be a day that we come knocking on his door, so don't listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, let me throw this out at you before we talk about strengths and weaknesses. The scenario I threw out on your show this morning, and then I saw Mark Rogers drop it on you today too. There is a very real possibility that these two teams that play today, based off of what I've seen with my eyeballs and where the trajectory, I believe, of these teams is going. You have to play this thing out. You can't just take how a team looks in week 1 and week 2 and say that's who's going to be in the CFP. You can't do that. You have to look at the trajectory of these teams. There's a very real possibility that Notre Dame and Ohio State, no matter what happens this Saturday, they both have roads to still get there, even if whichever one takes the L. You guys have USC remaining, Clemson, Duke, who all of a sudden looks legit. Okay.
You know what, you guys, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I've had Duke circled even before this season, and seeing that they're playing good, that's going to be a trap for Notre Dame, no matter whatever happens against you guys, because whether we win or lose, emotions are going to be on empty. And then you're going to a night game at Duke. That is the trappiest trap of all time. I'm trying not to worry about it till I have to, but that is circled. They announced today that's a night game. Win or lose against you guys, emotions are going to be running on empty. That's going to be a big one. You're right.
And that's not a big stadium. And I don't see those fans selling tickets like a lot of you have for this weekend.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, come on. Have they really? How many? Come on. I want to see that too.
$700-800 a pop all day long.
I'm not buying them. I'm not buying them. 7, 8, 7. Oh, what's the percentage you think?
No, I said it's $700 or $800 a piece. I'd sell them all day long.
700-800. Now here's what I figured.
Yeah, you would.
What I figured was, my theory was, if Notre Dame was undefeated leading into you guys, Notre Dame people will hold on to them. But if they would have slipped up against like NC State or something, then those Notre Dame fans would have flooded the market. Like, if you can't beat NC State, we're not going to beat you guys. Then I would have expected to see a bigger slice of red. But undefeated and playing the way we are, I would be shocked if it was overrun with red the way there was with like Georgia or even Cincinnati in 21. I would like to think the fact that Notre Dame's undefeated and putting up all these points would keep Notre Dame people from selling them, but maybe they want the money. I don't know.
I know this much. They're still available if you want to pay for them. They're out there if you want to pay for them. And I would
want to cut off an arm and pay for them. Yeah.
there's a lot of people in this fan base walking around with missing fingers, and now I'll
Well,
tell you, there's a reason why. Here's the thing, like after last week's game, just the buzz in Columbus after Saturday completely changed.
now wait a second. Now wait,
It
now wait.
really,
It's
it
time
really
out.
did.
Now,
I'm
wait, it's time
serious.
out. Who did you play?
Western Kentucky, which is the
Oh, well
best
then
team
now I
in the
got you
state
winning
of
the Super
Kentucky.
Bowl. I got you winning the Super Bowl now
At,
because you beat
at
Western
least we played a
Kentucky.
team with a real quarterback.
It's Western Kentucky. How
But
much
it's a
you
team
guys
with a
gonna
real quarterback.
how
You
much
know,
you gonna
hey,
fluff yourself after beating up on Western Kentucky?
Do you know who Western Kentucky's biggest rival is, John Kennedy?
Eastern Kentucky. How would I know? Never heard of them.
Marshall. You've heard of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard of them, and I'd like to forget them too.
So here's
dark
here's the thing that happened in that game though, John. I understand it. It was the offense showed up.
No, Chris was over here telling me Notre Dame's beating up on 4 nobodies, and aren't you concerned about that?
And again,
you're flipping
I
it. You're
said-
doing the same thing, and you're saying you're using it to ramp up. You don't get to use it against me and for you.
Sure we do.
No, you just told me I wasn't allowed to get pumped up after those 4
No,
wins
I
against
just
nobody.
asked if you had any
guys running
concerns.
up on Western, and
I asked
Eric
if
says
you
you're
had any
feeling great.
concerns, John, and I admitted that we had concerns going in. Did I not? Did I not admit we had concerns?
Okay, what did you do against Western that's got you this motivated? You're playing air defense and scored a bunch, and now is that it or what? What is it?
Number one, we actually completed third downs. We were having issues on third down. That was a very real concern to this football team. We stayed ahead of schedule. McCord looked comfortable in the pocket, which the offensive line at the beginning of the season, we had 3 new starters, left tackle, right tackle, center. Their inability in that first game against Indiana to really do anything affected the offense and the flow of the offense. Now, I understand that Western Kentucky is nowhere near the caliber of athlete that Notre Dame is bringing into that game Saturday night. I understand that. I admit that. But the fact that we actually blocked people and had a clean pocket and were moving people off the line of scrimmage for the first time this year gave this fan base hope that when we come into this game Saturday, we've actually got a legitimate shot. I'm being dead honest with you. Like I said at the beginning of the show, before Saturday, I didn't think we had a prayer. But
Eric,
now,
for me,
I'm like, this is a coin flip game for me. It is. There's gonna be something about this game that's going to change the momentum. It's going to hinge on it, whether it's a turnover, a stupid personal foul penalty, something. Yes.
Who's going to make that pivot play? I see that.
For me, it was the defense, man. I mean, honestly, the fact that our
they were
defensive
flying
backs
around
went out there and played up to par against a really a good quarterback. You know, he is an NFL talent quarterback. He may not be a starter, but he's an NFL talent quarterback.
Yeah.
And the fact that they went out there and stood up against him, I think, shows something.
Jason, all the same things Notre Dame fans saw the first. Exactly. These two teams, I think, are very, very comparable. And they really are.
The statistics bear that out, you know.
They really do.
Do you realize that neither team has any player with more than 1 sack? Neither team has any player with more than 1 interception. Neither team has any player with more than 1 forced fumble. The quarterbacks, if you break it down, the numbers are very similar percentage-wise. I mean, McCord's a hair under 70%. I believe Hartman's, about 71 almost? Completion percentage. Now, he does have 13 touchdowns and no interceptions. That's awesome. But at the same time, I think McCord was in the middle of a bit of a quarterback race where he was splitting some time, so maybe he didn't get those reps. Yeah. You play this out. I think these are 2 very comparable teams.
Yeah. Hey, and Jaded, you forgot the clovers after the heart, man. Yeah. You got to add the clovers. Come on.
That little emoji does look like him, too, with that good beard and the good hair. I'm telling you what, man. We got a good-looking head coach and quarterback, that's for sure. Those 2 are good-looking battery there for your football team. That's one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, I mean, there are fans on each side that get out on their skis or whatever. I'm looking at it as, I'm not going to guarantee a Notre Dame win. I may pick us in the USA Today article to get a last minute field goal or something. But I was going to ask you guys, like, if Notre Dame were to pull this off at home and beat you guys, what would that look like from your end? Like, what would that gameplay look like where Notre Dame does this and wins it? What would have to go sideways for you guys? Is it like, McCord can't get in rhythm, or is it like, what would that look like if Notre Dame pulled this off? I genuinely want to know from your end.
It's
Defensive,
simple. The left tackle. The left tackle doesn't hold up. Yeah.
Defensive line beats us at the line of scrimmage. It really is that.
How do you guys end up with a transfer tackle? Like, why are you in that situation?
Oh my
with
God.
that?
Don't even get us started.
Why the hell are you going and getting these guys? Can't you home grow them? You're Ohio State.
No,
we can't.
Come on.
Not since honestly, since Coach Stud started having his health problems, everything went downhill.
We have not developed if we do not recruit a 5-star offensive lineman, we do not develop one. It's been that way since 2014.
That's
was the last
weird,
time we
man.
developed a 3-star.
That's weird. That's
it's the only position
when you guys are as good as you are.
It's the only position that, well, really since the middle of Urban Meyer's tenure, going into Ryan Day, where we have not developed a guy. DeJuan Jones can be really. He's the one you can argue about because he was a 3-star basketball player from Indiana that we turned into a right tackle that had good feet. But some would say he went in the 4th round. So is that really,
He should have been a 1st-round pick, though, Eric. Or second at worst.
Well, when you can't stay away from the hamburgers. I mean, he gained, 30 pounds after the end of the season? That's why he fell so bad. No, I'm telling you, it sounds so simple, and I don't mean for it to, I'm not recreating the wheel here, John, but if our offensive line gets beat by your defensive line, it's going to be a long day for us because without scoring enough points, we know Hartman's going to score points. We know you guys are going to score points. We know our defense is really good, but we still understand you guys are going to score points. We have to be able to score enough to give ourselves a chance in the 4th quarter for that defense to create a turnover. A big 3rd down stop, something on those lines, which I'm confident we can do. But if the offense isn't going to put the biscuit in the basket, it don't matter what's happening in the kitchen.
Yeah. Notre Dame does. This is the best secondary we've had in like 15, 20 years. And I genuinely mean that. That is always usually a problem for us. We had Julian Love back there and then Kyle Hamilton back there. Those are some big NFL names now. Mm-hmm. But they were only one guy out there. I needed 2 or 3 of each of them, right? And this is the best secondary we've had in a while. We feel good about that. The issue is, what's that D front going to do? If they are not making McCord feel that pressure and the timing, it's going to be a long day. It doesn't matter how good you are on the back end. If you're not getting to the guy, he's going to have time. Your great athletes are going to find a way to get open.
We're in the same boat, man. That's what's freaking crazy about this.
Yeah. And can I tell you what's even crazier, guys? And I'm going to tell you right now, we've talked about the offenses. I'm telling you right now, hammer the under on this game.
Dude, that's another thing I was going to ask you guys is, do you have any guesses on like the score ranges here? Like, I don't know where I'm going to fall on this. I don't know whether both teams are going to start scoring or whether they're going to lock it down and it'll be I don't know what to think.
I believe the team that wins is in the 30s.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be shocked if this became a shootout. I really would.
Yeah.
I would be shocked. Let me ask you this question, John. You get on Saturday night to do your live show, and somehow Notre Dame has lost 6 in a row to Ohio State now, and you're upset. What position group are you going to be the most upset with?
Imagine that. I fire it up and I'm upset. Imagine that. That's never happened before. If things go wrong for Notre Dame, I suspect this is going to be the most boring answer in football history. Offensive line can't generate any run game, and then we're limited, and that's a problem. Or the protection breaks down. So I would suspect an offensive line issue. And then I think not being able to stop your run. And if they don't do a good job against that, Notre Dame's screwed. Like, everybody's worrying about your receivers and all that and all those names. If Notre Dame doesn't do a better job against the run, we're dead against you guys. I heard this on a Notre Dame show earlier today. Last year, there were 17 first down runs you guys had against us. 16 of them were considered like successful runs of a few yards or more. We're dead then. Like Notre Dame cannot beat you guys doing that, giving up 4, 5, 6 yards on first down runs. We're done. That takes all the pressure off McCord if you're doing that on first down. So for Notre Dame, again, it's defensive line, offensive line. It is the boringest thing to ever talk about, but it is true. And like you guys, we have seen flashes in this first few game window where you're like, ooh, I like that. We got something cooking. And we've seen other stretches where I'm going, well, if you're doing this bad against this team, what's going to happen against Ohio State? Like, we've had a lot of both of that. So I got questions about some of Notre Dame's offensive line and the defensive line. And all summer and every pre and post game show of the first four, I've said, ask me how good they are after your game, and then I'll have a better measuring stick. Because I just don't know how real the first four were. I mean,
Chris,
NC State maybe, because they're a physical, kind of gritty team. But that's where it's going to be. And so Notre Dame's got to try and do a good job winning up front.
Chris brought this up. It's funny you mentioned that. Chris brought this up on our Sunday Night Live show. This past game was the first time that we know of that under a Ryan Day-led offense where he called more running plays than passing plays.
Interesting.
I mean,
so do you think, now let me ask this, you got this McCord guy. He doesn't have a ton of experience. You know you have weapons on the outside. Do you have a suspicion Ryan Day is going to try and ease him into the game with the heavy run game and see if they can do what I just was worried about and loosen things up? Or do you think they're going to let that guy fly it?
not his
Ryan Day
style.
is not a run first guy. I wish he was, and he made plenty of runs out there on Saturday.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's just not a run first guy. I would love to see him go out there and use the run to open the pass.
Yeah.
I would love to see him get out there and we got a great running back room. We really do. We've got a 5 deep running back room. Our fourth, fifth guy on the chart had 500 yards rushing last year.
Aren't those guys big too? Aren't all those guys like 200 plus beefy? Like all of them. You got some dudes. And even if you do a good job against them, they're going to fall forward a few yards. It's like estimate. Is it like
if your offensive line isn't generating any push, they got to get back close to the line of scrimmage to fall forward to positive.
Here's a name that you guys are probably not talking about in the Notre Dame media because he's not the headline name that Travion Henderson is. But so far this year, Chip Trayanum has really kind of come along.
He's on the radar. He's on the radar.
Okay, he's a beast, man. They play him at fullback. They'll send him out wide. He's a lead blocker. They'll put him at H. Like he's everywhere in this offense, and they're using him as a real weapon. And when it comes to short yardage, be cognizant of him because he absolutely will move the line forward with his strength. Travion's not so much. Travion's about speed and space. One cut and go. When he starts dancing in the backfield, that's when we start yelling at the television screen. What are you doing?
The other thing is he wasn't fully healthy all last year either.
He wasn't.
He was hobbling, and you weren't getting him at full effect either. And now it seems that he's healthy again.
Yeah. And I tell you, I've been very impressed with your running back. Kevin Noon. He's not Jerome Bettis. Like,
man, listen, I get it. Like,
no kidding.
Not liking Notre Dame and all that. I just genuinely couldn't believe how dismissive he was, and no acknowledgement of. I'm just saying to the Notre Dame people, it's a big deal, that quarterback thing, man. We feel like we are coming into the game with an extra tool to use that we never, ever have. Literally, we always say, you're just going to have to pitch a shutout on defense to try and win this game. Like, we feel like we're going in there with a little extra juice just with the idea that we think we might have a quarterback who can make some plays. Like, I'm just a little surprised how dismissive he was to think it'd be a blowout. I could see if Notre Dame struggled in all their first 4 games, but they didn't. So I don't know what that guy was on, but he does not think highly of my boys.
Forget him.
Sammy's serviceable. He's all right.
Oh, shoot. All right, man. We're coming down to the end of this show here. I know that you have got a lot more going on this week. We're going to be coming on your show at some point this week and doing this again from maybe a little bit more of a Ohio State perspective for your fans and your fan base. I know you've got other shows, other Notre Dame shows you're going to be on, and all of your shows that you do, which are fantastic. For all of the Ohio State fans and Purdue fans who were here tonight, who enjoyed John Kennedy, where can they find you? How can they get a hold of you and get more of your content?
Certainly. Thank you for mentioning that. Always Irish on YouTube. USA Today Fighting Irish Wire. I am a writer, a staff writer for them, cover Notre Dame. So if you want to read it, not see my face and hear my voice, you can go over there and read about it instead. And then all the social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Always Irish Inc. And that's it. YouTube's probably the easiest, and everything I do is there. All the call-in shows, short videos of me yelling, well, whatever. There's something for everybody there. It's not boring. Let's just put it that way.
There was a question earlier, how would Feinbaum react to this show? Well, first off, if they were both in the SEC, this would be the game of the century. But since they're not, he's not even going to mention it or give us any acknowledgement of that. So get rid of that.
Go ahead, Chris.
I'll just say, you want to know what my response would be to Feinbaum? I'm going to take the Coach Prime approach here. Who cares? Do you think I care what Feinbaum thinks?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Who is he anyhow?
Yeah, and he's just bought and paid for by that SEC,
exactly.
And everything he does is shaded with that. Now, you want to know what's a compliment to both of us, you guys? Both sides of this is when the powers that be saw that this was going to come to fruition, that we were both going to be undefeated. Did you notice that TV schedule scatter around our window? Nobody wanted to touch it. They flexed Clemson, Florida State down into the noon window. Everybody kind of went into other windows. They didn't even want to touch it. And they're all mad that it's NBC because it's, our little deal that we got. But they scattered. Nobody wants to mess with it. And the other thing is, I'm trying to get my stuff on game day, baby. I gave out my flags. I got a crew going out there in the morning. I'm getting that free promotion off them, damn it.
Just don't give Herbie any credit. We don't count him anymore in our fan base. My gosh, when you guys
right up there with Marcus Freeman.
Hey,
no, he's worse than Freeman.
Herbie's big time now, you guys. He's too cool for school. You know what got me with Herbie? They had a video last year. It was November on the game day set. In a commercial break, they had a girl warming his feet up. His little feet were cold. His shoes were off during the TV timeout, and this intern girl was rubbing his feet to keep his footsies warm till they came back from the TV timeout. That was it for me. I lost it. You're too big time when you got a foot massager to warm your hoops up during a commercial break. I couldn't believe it. This poor girl sitting there rubbing his feet, keeping him warm. What a joke.
Are you serious? That really happened?
I'll never
I can
forget
see
it.
that.
I'll never forget it. That girl was literally rubbing his feet to keep him warm during the TV break. Come on, Hollywood. Hollywood Herbie.
Gosh, what a tool. Yeah, shoot. He hates us, man. He gets on there and complains about us. All right, John, are you a betting man?
Oh, boy. What do we want to do? You mentioned it. What do we want to do for this?
See this hat right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, Woody. Says the Ohio Podcast, Woody.
Uh-huh.
How about this? I don't know if you have an Always Irish mug, hat, or something. If not, okay. If we win, I'll send this to you. You have to wear it on one of your live shows. I'll do it vice versa. I'll wear an Always Irish on Sunday night. As soon as I get it, I will wear it for the entire show. I will give you guys credit. Do you want to make that bet?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
We'll do it. We'll do it. I'll do that. And we'll mail the stuff out one way or the other. We'll do that. I will do that only because you guys are nice guys that have been fair to me. We'll make that deal. All right, we'll do it. We'll do it.
You know, I made the following comment in closing, John. I want to give you the last comment, but I made the following comment to my wife when I was hanging out downstairs before I came up here. I said, who would have ever thought we lived in a world where a dude from the south side of Chicago and a fat guy from Columbus could get on here and yell about football. Don't we live in a great world, man? I absolutely love this. I am going to enjoy the entire week, the game, win, lose, or draw. This is my favorite thing, man, right here, college football.
Yeah.
You know what? I just want to add one little thing in there. You know what? It is approximately 8:58 p.m. on a lovely Monday night, and I think we can all agree Michigan still sucks.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, here's going to be my finishing thought for this, okay? And I think this is something that the three of us will come together on and all agree with, and we kind of just touched on it. Here it is. I like the fact that for this weekend, all of the biggest eyes and the brightest lights in college football are focused on two old school Midwestern, Northern, brand name college football programs with a ton of history, huge fan bases, a lot of loyalty. I like the fact that at least for this weekend, all of the biggest bright lights are on us playing good, tough, fit football in the North, where we don't get a lot of credit for doing that enough. I like that. Everybody's looking at us, and it's two good old Midwestern teams going at it, and I like that.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in tonight. If you're watching this on replay, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, do all those great things. It really does help the channel out. We're trying to become an Always Irish podcast for the Buckeye side of things down the road. John's got a few years on us and a few thousand more followers than us. But
I've been at it a while.
Yeah, we're coming along. We were audio only for the longest time. We decided to put our ugly faces on YouTube. Like they say, we have faces for radio, right, Chris?
Yeah, right.
But here we are. So we appreciate all of you crazy Irish fans for coming in the chat and following John over here. We do appreciate that. And we look forward to this weekend. Hey, man, the two biggest fan bases in the country are Ohio State and Notre Dame. I just saw a big article about that. Yeah. These are the two biggest right here, man. So there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this game. Like you said, NBC sitting back going, oh, yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, they are.
This is it. Yep. This isn't, Rutgers on a Friday night. That's for sure. This is the real deal.
All right, John, let's see if you know what to do here. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH and sing Carbon, Ohio with all your heart. Until next time, OH!
I owe!
No.